order of operations. Hopefully you are plenty familiar with this. And then pretty much for the rest of the week we'll be doing fractions and decimals by hand. So no calculators. You have to earn the calculator. All right, so today, order of operations. All right, so order of operations. You should remember from some other class. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sue.
Sally.
She is not Sally. She's Sue.
She's Sally to me. She'll always be Sally to me.
This day and age, you can change the name.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyways.
Your Aunt Sally.
So listen up. Parentheses first. Exponents next. Now this is tricky. Multiply and divide at the same time. Okay, left to right. So if we have a list, we go left to right. Add and subtract at the same time, as in left to right, add and subtract. So those happen at once. That's why I wrote them kind of diagonal like that. So sometimes you might actually divide before you multiply. It's going to depend on the order it's written in. So let's do a few quick ones. All right, using the order of operations, what should I do first? Divide. Okay. We're tempted to do multiplication, but we multiply and divide at the same time, and the division appears first. So I do that division, and I get 5, and then I copy down all the rest. Now what do I do?
Multiply.
And then finally, 10 minus 8 is 2. Okay? Not that bad. Not that bad. How about this one? We should multiply. So 7 minus 15 plus 8. Notice all our work should be going downward. Okay? And then what do we do next? So what's 7 minus 15? Good job. Negative 8 plus 8 is?
0.
Good job. 0. So 0 is our answer there. We'll do more grouping in a moment. I want to talk about evaluating. Evaluate is when we get an answer. Well, of course we want to get an answer. Usually a numerical one. So we want a number. And what we do is we replace variables, those are our letters, with a number. That's evaluating. So, for example, I might have something like this. 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. And I might say evaluate that if x equals 2. I'll give you a moment to write that down because I really want you to see what I do here. And I'm sure that some of you are like, I already know what to do here. Good. But we want to make sure that we are all on the same page. So what's going to happen here is I have x equals 2. That means every instance of x I'm going to replace with a 2. But I put it in parentheses. Okay, I want to make sure I do that. So I have 3 parentheses 2. So the x is now gone. It's a 2.
I have a question.
Minus 2. I'll get to your question in just a second. And Barbara.
What is that little dot dot?
It's a semicolon.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm like, this is the next thing. So this is the thing we're evaluating. Now I follow the order of operations. What should I do first? Should I do 3 times 2? Should I do this 2 times 2? What should I do? The exponent. Exponent first. So what's 2 squared? Now I want to keep the operation. The operation here is multiply. Now, actually, I can do this term at the same time, so I will. I'll go ahead and do that 2 times 2. If that confuses you, don't. Just do it in what makes you feel comfortable. All right, what should we do next?
Multiply.
Multiply. So we get 12. And then left to right. So 8 plus 5, which is 13. And notice how I don't have a bunch of equal signs in Word. That gets really sloppy and confusing. Just always work down, and your work is going to make a lot more sense. Besides, I require you to do that anyway. Work down, never across. Always downward. So each line of work, I could say, that way when you make a mistake, I could say to you, your mistake's in line 3. So you count down to the 3rd line. You're like, okay, I have a mistake somewhere here. Okay? All right, I'll give you a moment to get that down. We could have multiple variables, so we'll try that as well. We'll see how good you are at positive and negatives, right, Trey? See if you're on the same page.
I don't know.
We need to work on those, is that what you're saying?
I'm confused.
Are you confused on this?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm like, where you 12, the 3rd, yeah, that one.
So 3 times 4 is 12, and I copied down the rest. Then I did 12 minus 4, which is 8. Copy down the rest. And 8 plus 5 is 13. And then I'm done. I have my number. See, I evaluated. I got a number at the end, which is what we want. Okay, I'll go ahead and go on. We'll have several examples of this. Let's say I have 4a minus 2b. Let's divide by a c. And maybe I tell you a is 2, and b is 5, and c is also 2. So I have a lot of things to replace here, don't I? But just because I have multiples of them, that doesn't change anything. I do the same thing. So I substitute into parentheses. So I replace a with a 2, and copy down the negative 2 here. The b I'm going to replace with a 5, and I'm going to divide that by a 2. I put everything in parentheses. What should I do first?
Multiply.
And I get 8. Can I do this multiplication at the same time? Yes, I can. Copy the rest down. Now what do I do? Divide. Wow, Miss C got you guys good. All right, so 8 minus 5 is 3, and I'm done. Now, sometimes we might have parentheses in here. Are you good at evaluating? I don't need to do any more examples of that? You okay? That's about as hard as it's going to get, for now anyway. I don't think there's any much harder. Might have some fractions in there, but same basic idea. Okay? Then let's go ahead and do some with some parentheses in the mix. So let's say we have this. All right, here's a big kahuna. What should we do first?
Parentheses.
All right, I have 2 parentheses. Which one?
First one.
Okay, so I get 2, right? Can I work inside this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get 16 minus 10. I do the squared first. Now what? The exponent. So I get 4, right? Notice I keep those parentheses there until I deal with them. Can I do this 16 minus 10?
Yeah.
I can do each set of parentheses at the same time. That's fine. And then I have 12 divided by 6, which is 2. Good. All right. Here's a fact for the next problem. Innermost parentheses first. So if I have parentheses inside of parentheses, I'm going to do the ones on the inside the first. Alright, so here we go. Innermost first. Here's an innermost one. So what do I do? Y squared. I keep that parentheses. Now what? Yep. I do that 27. Now what? Yep. I subtract those. And what is 16 minus 27? Now, it is a negative number. What negative number? Here's one. She already has it. Negative 11. If you didn't know, I'll check that in a moment. Let's say I don't have a calculator and I have to do it by hand. I put whatever number looks bigger on top. Now, of course, 16 is bigger than negative 27, but as far as actual distance from 0, I mean. What's the sign in front of this 16 if it's not written? Plus. Different sign, different. See, they're different. Whichever sign is on the top number is the sign at the bottom. And then, since it's a different sign difference, 7 minus 6 is 1, and 2 minus 1 is 1, negative 11. And then 3 times negative 11. Now, this doesn't mean 3 minus 11, right? This is times, so negative 33. Okay? So that's good. All right. I think we will do one more example, and then I'm going to set you loose to do a bunch of problems. What do we do first? Meredith. Okay, and what inside of them? I have a bunch of things. Yeah, exponents first. Can I do this parentheses at the same time? I can because they're separate. Okay? So I can do that as well. And I'll save myself some work. What would I do next, Rachel?
You would do 100. No, you do 4 times 8.
Yep, 4 times 8. Now, again, if I don't know what that is, different sign difference, borrow, and I get 68. These parentheses clear now. Do you understand what I mean by clear? They clear, as in there's nothing left to do. Okay? And then apparently the book says 68 divided 17 is 4. So we'll just go with what the book says there. Okay, I think you're sounding pretty good, or looking pretty good. So we'll stop right there. And I want you to go ahead and grab a whiteboard.